The last rays of sunlight slipped behind the pine-covered hills, painting the evening sky in deep shades of gold and crimson. At the heart of Lakeside Park, 30 excited fifth graders from Cedar Elementary sat in a wide circle around a crackling campfire, their laughter echoing through the quiet forest. The annual camping trip had finally arrived, and for most of them, it was the biggest adventure of the year. Just 15 miles from their peaceful suburban town, the wilderness felt like an entirely different world. 10-year-old Kevin Russell stirred the glowing embers with a long stick, while his best friend, Lily Martinez, carefully turned a marshmallow until it was perfectly golden. They had counted down to this trip for months, completely unaware that before the night was over, it would become a story no one on Earth would ever forget. "Do you think we'll see any shooting stars tonight?" Lily asked, carefully turning her marshmallow to get it golden brown on all sides. Kevin nodded. "My mom said there's a muir shower this weekend. That's why she let me bring her special binoculars." Their teacher, Mrs. Bennett, clapped her hands to get everyone's attention. "Okay, children, time for ghost stories." As the group settled down and Mrs. Bennett began her tale about the haunted forest, no one noticed the subtle change in the air. A faint hum just below the range of human hearing spread across the campsite. The leaves on nearby trees stopped moving, even though the breeze continued. The flames of the campfire froze in place for just a split second. In the sky above, invisible to human eyes, a massive ship hovered. Inside, blue-kinned aliens with 4 arms each worked at control panels, covered in strange symbols. "Biological scanning complete," reported one of the aliens. 12 subjects matched the genetic criteria. Commander Cora, the commander, taller than the others with dark blue markings across her face, nodded. "Begin selective extraction. Remember, the council wants minimal disturbance." Back at the campfire, Kevin felt a strange tingling sensation. He looked at Lily, whose eyes had gone wide. "Do you feel that?" he whispered. Before she could answer, a column of soft light surrounded them. Kevin tried to call out to Mrs. Bennett, but no sound came from his mouth. He reached for Lily's hand, as the world around them faded away. Across the campsite, similar columns of light appeared, each one surrounding a child. Then, in the span of 3 minutes, the light vanished, along with 12 children. Mrs. Bennett was in the middle of her ghost story when she realized something was wrong. The children were acting strange, some looking around confused. "Where's Kevin?" a boy asked. "And Lily's gone too?" another child cried out. Panic spread quickly as they realized children were missing. Mrs. Bennett frantically counted heads. Only 18 children remained out of 30. She grabbed her phone to call for help, but it wouldn't turn on. None of the adults' phones worked. Miles away, in a modern house at the edge of town, Dr. Eleanor Russell bolted upright from her desk. The instruments in her homeland were going crazy, registering massive energy fluctuations in the atmosphere. As aeologist for the United Earth Defense Force, she recognized the patterns from classified reports. She grabbed her secure phone and called her husband, Captain Alan Russell, who was at the local UADF base. "Alan, something's happening," she said, her voice tight with fear. The readings matched the Proxima Centauri incident, and they're centered at Lakeside Park. There was silence on the other end of the line. Then Alan spoke, his voice cold with dread. "Kevin's camping trip is at Lakeside. By the time search teams reached the park, the alien ship was already leaving Earth's atmosphere, its cloaking technology, making it invisible to most tracking systems. Inside, 12 children floated in stasis pods filled with clear blue gel. Their vital signs were stable, their minds placed in an artificial sleep. In the ship's control room, Commander Cora sent a transmission to her superiors. Specimen collection successful. Returning to research station with all 12 human juveniles as requested. Estimated arrival, 3 Earth days. The ship accelerated past the moon, leaving no trace of its visit except for devastated families and the beginning of humanity's most important first contact. 3 days had passed since the children vanished. The small town of Pinewood Hills was in chaos. Police cars and news vans lined the streets. Parents held tearful press conferences. Search parties combed the woods around Lakeside Park, finding nothing. At the Russell home, Captain Alan Russell hadn't slept. His military training told him this was no ordinary kidnapping. The strange energy readings his wife detected. The failure of all electronic devices at the exact moment of disappearance. It all pointed to something beyond human involvement. Alan stood in their kitchen, looking at photos of Kevin, pinned to a board, along with maps and notes. Eleanor entered, her eyes red from crying. "The UADF is hiding something," she said. "My security clearance isn't high enough, but I know they're tracking something in space." Alan nodded. "I called in every favor I had. Admiral Grant finally told me they detected unusual activity near Neptune, but wouldn't say more." The secure phone on Alan's belt beeped. He answered it and listened, his face growing pale. "We have to go," he said to Eleanor. Now, high above Earth, aboard the Euclid vessel Northern Star, Commander Diane Powell stared at the screen in front of her. Her ship had been tracking an unidentified object, moving at impossible speeds near the edge of the solar system. "Try hailing them again," she ordered. The communications officer shook his head. "Still no response, Commander. But we're picking up transmissions between that ship and a larger vessel beyond Neptune. Can we decode it?" Powell asked partially, said the officer. "Something about successful specimen acquisition and human juveniles in stasis. There's mention of a research station in the Kuiper Belt." Commander Powell's blood ran cold. She immediately transmitted the information to UADF headquarters on Earth. Within hours, Alan and Elena Russell were aboard a military transport heading to the lunar base. There, in a secure conference room, Admiral William Grant addressed a small team of military personnel and scientists. "What I'm about to share is classified at the highest level," the Admiral said. 3 days ago, we detected an alien craft entering our solar system. It approached Earth, remained for approximately 1 hour, then departed at speeds our physics can't explain. He brought up a holographic image showing the ship's path. "We've tracked it to what appears to be a research station, hidden in the Kuiper Belt. Based on intercepted communications, we believe the missing children are aboard that station." The room erupted in shocked whispers. One scientist stood up. "This confirms what many of us have suspected. We're not alone in the universe." "That's not all," Admiral Grant continued. "The communication suggests these aliens view humans as research subjects. They referred to our children as specimens." Alan Russell stood, his face hard with determination. "I want to lead the rescue mission." Admiral Grant nodded. "I thought you might say that, Captain Russell. We're assembling a special operations team as we speak. Dr. Russell, we need your expertise in xenobiology as well." Eleanor looked surprised. "You want me in the field? We don't know what we're facing," the Admiral explained. "We need someone who can understand their biology, their technology. We may need to deal with whatever they've done to the children." 3 hours later, Alan and Eleanor were aboard the UED's fastest stealth ship, the Swift Arrow. With them were 8 Special Forces soldiers, each chosen for their unique skills. Their mission: infiltrate the alien research station, rescue the children, and return to Earth without starting an interstellar war. As the Swift Arrow left Earth's orbit, Alan looked at the photo of Kevin he kept in his pocket. "We're coming for you, son," he whispered. Little did the rescue team know that they were about to make humanity's first hostile contact with the Galactic Collective, a union of advanced civilizations that had been watching Earth for centuries, and their actions would forever change how these ancient species viewed humans. The Swift Arrow slowed as it approached the Kuiper Belt. The ship's advanced cloaking technology hid it from normal sensors, but Captain Alan Russell knew they couldn't stay hidden forever. "There it is," said the pilot, pointing at a screen showing a large structure floating among the distant ice bodies. The alien research station was bigger than they expected. It looked like a giant wheel with spokes running to a central hub. Strange blue lights pulsed along its surface. Eleanor studied the red dots on her tablet. "The outer ring is rotating to create artificial gravity. I'm detecting atmosphere inside, and various life forms." Alan turned to his team. "Remember the plan. We dock at the maintenance port, enter quietly, find the children, and extract them. No engagement, unless absolutely necessary." The 8 Special Forces soldiers nodded. They wore next-generation combat suits designed for space warfare, with built-in weapons and life support. Each soldier carried specialized equipment from hacking devices to medical kits. Eleanor looked nervous in her scientist's version of the suit. "What if they're peaceful? Maybe this is all a misunderstanding." "They took our children without permission," Alan replied, his voice hard. "That's not how peaceful species introduce themselves." The Swift Arrow approached the station from below, where sensors were weakest. Using magnetic clamps, they attached to a small service port and began cutting through. Inside the station, Science Director Exarak was studying the latest test results from the human children. The blue-skinned alien had 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected light rainbows. He belonged to the Zenari species, one of the founding members of the Galactic Collective. "Fascinating," he said to his assistant. "These humans have remarkable adaptive capabilities. Their brain structure is primitive compared to ours, but shows potential for rapid evolution." His assistant, a younger Zenari named Vela, nodded. "The juveniles are recovering from stasis faster than expected, especially subjects 7 and 8. Those are the 2 friends, correct? The ones with the unusual genetic markers?" Korak asked. "Yes, Director Kevin Russell and Lily Martinez. Their brainwave patterns show unusual synchronization during sleep." An alarm suddenly blared through the laboratory. Sorek's compound eyes widened in surprise. "Security breach in Section 12," announced a voice over the station's communication system. "Unknown entities have boarded the station." Thor pressed a button on his control panel. "This is impossible. How could primitives find us, let alone reach us?" In the station's security center, Commander Zell watched in disbelief as the station's cameras showed strange bipedal creatures in armored suits moving through the corridors. "Humans," she whispered. "They followed us here." Her security chief looked confused. "But they don't have the technology for interstellar travel. Their fastest ships can barely reach their own moon." "Apparently, we underestimated them," Zell replied. "Alert Ambassador Telzak. He should handle this diplomatically. These humans must not reach the research section." But it was too late. Alan's team had already split into 2 groups. While 4 soldiers created a distraction in the main corridor, Alan, Eleanor, and the other soldiers headed straight for the life signs that matched human children. When they reached the laboratory section, they encountered their first aliens. 2 Zenari guards stood outside a large door marked with symbols. Alan had never seen anything like these tall blue fair-armed beings before, but he didn't hesitate. The guards raised strange weapons, but the human soldiers were faster. Stun rounds fired from their suits dropped the aliens before they could react. "Eleanor, get this door open," Alan ordered. As Eleanor worked on the alien control panel, Alan heard his team's radio crackle with urgent messages. "Captain, there are dozens of them converging on our position. They have energy weapons." Alan made a quick decision. "Hold them off as long as you can. We're getting the children out." The door slid open, revealing a large laboratory filled with strange equipment. And there, floating in transparent pods filled with blue gel, were 12 human children. Kevin was in the pod nearest to the door. When Alan saw his son's peaceful, sleeping face, something inside him snapped. This wasn't just a mission anymore. This was war. Alan rushed to Kevin's pod, pressing his gloved hand against the transparent surface. Illiner quickly moved to the control panel nearby. "I need to understand how to release them safely," she said, studying the alien symbols. "This technology is decades beyond ours." "Work fast," Alan replied. "We don't have much time." The laboratory door slid open. Alan spun around, weapon raised, but instead of security forces, a single Xener entered. This one wore elaborate blue and silver robes that shimmered in the light. "I am Ambassador Telzak," the alien said, in perfect English. "I request that you stop this aggressive action immediately." Helen kept his weapon aimed at the ambassador. "You kidnapped our children." Telzak's 4 hands made a complex gesture that might have been confusion. "Kidnapped. We collected specimens for important scientific research. This is standard procedure for studying pre-collective species." Eleanor stepped forward. "Those specimens are our children, sentient beings with families who love them." "Of course they have families," Telzak replied, sounding genuinely puzzled. "Just as your scientists take young animals from their natural habitats for study, we ensure they are not harmed." Alan's fury boiled over. He moved with military precision, grabbing the much taller alien by the throat and pushing him against the wall. One of Telzak's forearms tried to pull Alan's hand away, but the human's grip was like iron. "Listen to me very carefully," Alan said, his voice deadly quiet. "Humans are not animals. Our children are not specimens." The ambassador's compound eyes widened as he struggled to breathe. "This violence proves our assessment of your species." "No," Alan said. "This proves how little you understand us." He released Telzak, who gasped for air. Meanwhile, Eleanor had figured out the stasis pod controls and was starting to wake the children. "You captured human children," Alan continued, his combat suit damaged from earlier fighting. Blood trickled from a cut on his forehead. "Let me make something perfectly clear to you and your entire collective. We may be younger than your civilizations, less advanced in some ways, but you have violated the one principle that unites every human culture across our world. We protect our children at all costs. Eleanor looked up from Kevin's pod as the blue gel began to drain. We've studied your databanks. You've been watching us, but understanding nothing. You've seen our wars and called us violent, but missed the reason we fight so fiercely. To protect what we love. You've made a terrible mistake. Telzak straightened his robes, his expression shifting to something new, perhaps the first hint of respect. No species has ever tracked our ships. No species has ever boarded a collective facility. No species has ever threatened a collective ambassador. He paused. You are unexpected. The station shook as explosions echoed through distant corridors. The diversionary team was putting up a fierce fight. Your soldiers are outnumbered 10-1, Telzak said. They cannot win. They don't need to win, Ellen replied. They just need to buy us time. Kevin's pod opened with a hiss. The boy's eyes fluttered, then focused on his father's face. Dad, he whispered. I had weird dreams. Ellen pulled his son into a tight hug, tears in his eyes around them. Other pods were opening as Eleanor worked the controls. Telzak watched this display of emotion with growing fascination. This attachment to offspring, it drives you to cross interstellar space to fight vastly superior forces. Every human on Earth would do the same, Eleanor said, helping Lily from her pod. And there are billions of us. The ambassador's posture changed, his forearms dropping to his sides in what might have been surrender or submission. I believe, he said slowly, the collective has severely misjudged humanity. Ellen looked directly into Telzak's compound eyes. Tell your leaders this. Earth is off limits. Our children are not your research subjects. Next time we won't be so restrained in our response. The warning hung in the air between them. The first clear message from humanity to the stars. Alarms blared throughout the station as Alan and Eleanor helped the children out of their pods. The kids were weak and confused, but otherwise unharmed. We need to move now, Alan said, checking his tactical display. My team reports multiple alien ships approaching the station. Ambassador Telzak's communication device chimed. After listening briefly, his expression grew serious. The collective defense fleet has arrived, he said. They will not allow you to leave with the research subjects. Children, Eleanor corrected him firmly. They are children, not subjects. Kevin held on to his father's hand, still groggy from the stasis. Dad, they did tests on us. They thought we couldn't hear them, but sometimes I could. They think humans are interesting, but dangerous. Lily nodded. They said we might be useful someday when we grow up. They put something in our heads that made us sleep, but I could still dream. Alan made a quick decision. Eleanor, get the children to the ship. I need to make sure the collective understands exactly what they're dealing with. What are you planning? She asked, concern in her voice. Alan didn't answer directly. Instead, he turned to Telzak. Your people have been watching Earth for how long? Approximately 300 of your years, the ambassador replied. And in all that time, you never thought to just say hello, to ask permission before taking our children. Telzak's forearms moved in a pattern that seemed to indicate discomfort. The collective's protocols for pre-spacefaring species are clear. Observation only with limited sampling for research. Sampling, Alan repeated coldly. He activated his combat suit's communication system. Lieutenant Patel, execute Protocol Omega. Send everything we've gathered to Earth now. Yes, sir, came the response. Data transmission beginning. Telzak looked alarmed. What are you doing? Ensuring that even if we don't make it back, Earth will know about you. They'll know what you did, where to find you, and how your technology works. Eleanor led the children toward the exit. Alan stayed behind, facing the ambassador. I'm also leaving you a message, Alan continued. A small nuclear device is now attached to your station's power core. Nothing that will destroy the station completely, but enough to make a point. Telzak's compound eyes widened. You would risk everyone's lives, including your own children's. The device is on a timer. We have exactly 15 minutes to reach our ship and clear the blast radius. I suggest you evacuate your people too. Outside the station, 5 collective ships had arrived, surrounding the area. Their weapon systems powered up, ready to prevent the humans from escaping. As Eleanor and the children reached the Swift Arrow, Alan made one final transmission to the collective fleet. This is Captain Alan Russell of Earth. Return to your worlds. Tell your leaders what happened here. Tell them that humans are not to be underestimated. We may be confined to one planet now, but you've just accelerated our expansion to the stars, and wherever we go, this rule applies. Leave our children alone, or face extinction. The swift arrow detached from the station, its engines glowing bright. The collective ships moved to intercept, but hesitated when they received urgent messages from the station about the nuclear device. In the confusion, the human ship slipped between two larger alien vessels and accelerated away. Ambassador Telzak watched from an evacuation shuttle as the station's power core section erupted in a controlled explosion 12 minutes later. The blast was precisely calculated, large enough to damage the research section, but small enough to spare the living quarters. As the collective fleet regrouped, Telzak dictated a message to his superiors. Humanity represents an unexpected threat level. They possess determination, tactical thinking, and emotional drivers that we have not seen in any species previously encountered. I strongly recommend a complete reevaluation of our approach to Earth. Aboard the Swift Arrow, heading back to Earth at maximum speed, Alan looked at the children huddled together in the ship's medical bay. His son Kevin was talking quietly with Lily. Both of them somehow changed by their experience. "They'll come after us," Eleanor said softly. "We've challenged the most powerful group of civilizations in our part of the galaxy." "Good," Ellen replied. "It's time they learned that humanity isn't just another species to be studied. We're a force to be reckoned with." The Swift Arrow raced through the outer solar system, pushing its engines beyond safe limits. Behind them, the collective fleet had scattered to deal with the station emergency, but Alan knew they wouldn't be safe until they reached Earth. In the ship's medical bay, Elmer examined each child carefully. Their vital signs were stable, but there was something different about them. "Kevin, can you tell me what happened when you were in the pod?" she asked her son gently. Kevin sat on the examination table, Lily beside him. The two children hadn't separated since being freed. "It was like being asleep, but also awake," Kevin said. "I could hear them talking sometimes, not with my ears, but in my head." Lily nodded. "I could feel what they were feeling too. The blue aliens were curious about us, not mean. They didn't understand why taking us was wrong." Eleanor ran a brain scan on both children. The results made her gasp. "Alan, you need to see this," she called. When Captain Russell arrived, Eleanor showed him the scan results. "Their brain patterns have changed. There's activity in regions that are usually dormant in humans. I think the Zaneri did something to them, intentionally or not." "Are they in danger?" Alan asked, worried. "No, they're healthy. But they've been enhanced somehow. The stasis fluid must have contained compounds that affected their neural development." All 12 children showed similar changes. As the Swift Arrow approached Mars' orbit, they began to exhibit unusual abilities. Kevin and Lily could sense each other's thoughts. Others reported vivid dreams of alien worlds or understanding complex mathematical concepts they'd never studied. A communication alert sounded throughout the ship. A massive collective vessel had appeared near Earth's moon, far larger than anything they'd encountered before. "They've cut us off," Lieutenant Patel said grimly. "That's a collective diplomatic cruiser. Our weapons would be useless against it." The ship's communication system activated without input. On the main screen appeared Ambassador Telzak, now aboard the massive cruiser. "Captain Russell," the ambassador said, "the Collective Council has reviewed your transmission and the events at our research station. Ellen stood protectively near the children, and your actions have caused significant diplomatic turmoil. Many council members demanded immediate retribution against Earth." Eleanor stepped forward. "You kidnapped children from Ascension species. How can there be any question about who was wrong?" Telzak's forearms made a gesture of acknowledgement. "I have shared the data you provided me. The council is disturbed by what they've seen. The emotional bonds between your juveniles and adults are unlike anything in our experience." The ambassador continued, his voice softer. "The collective has existed for 50,000 years, Captain Russell. In that time, we have encountered hundreds of species. None have ever reacted as humans did, crossing vast distances with inferior technology, fighting against impossible odds, risking everything for their young. On Earth, government leaders watched this first official alien contact with a mixture of fear and wonder. The Swift Arrow's transmissions were being broadcast globally, letting all of humanity witness this historic moment. "What happens now?" Alan asked. "You and your children will be allowed to return to Earth," Telzak said. "The Collective Council has ordered all research on humans to cease immediately. Your world is now classified as protected territory." Kevin suddenly stepped forward, staring at the screen with unusual intensity. He's telling the truth. Dad, I can feel it. Lily joined him. There are others like us on their ship, not human, but they can do what we can do now. Telzak appeared startled. How can they know this? The sensitives are shielded. Eleanor looked at the ambassador with new understanding. That's what you were really studying, wasn't it? The potential for human telepathic abilities. The collective needs new perspective, Telzak admitted. Our oldest species have grown stagnant. We believe humans might have untapped potential, but we never expected this level of ability to develop so quickly. As the Swift Arrow was escorted to Earth by the massive alien cruiser, news spread across the planet. Humanity's first official contact with alien life had begun with kidnapping, but was ending with recognition and respect. And on board the ship, 12 changed children prepared to return home, carrying within them the first seeds of humanity's next evolutionary step. 6 months had passed since the children returned to Earth. The world had changed forever. In Washington, D.C., Captain Alan Russell stood in full military dress before the newly formed United Earth Council. Beside him was Eleanor, now heading the Department of Xenobiology. Ambassador Telzak towered over them both, his blue skin reflecting the bright lights of the council chamber. The treaty is ready for signing, announced the council chairperson. For the first time in history, Earth will enter into formal relations with the Galactic Collective. Alan looked out at the audience. In the front row sat Kevin and Lily, along with the other 10 children who had been taken. They appeared normal on the outside, but their abilities had grown stronger every day. They could now communicate with each other without speaking and could sense the emotions of others around them. Ambassador Telzak stepped forward. On behalf of the 27 civilizations of the collective, I offer our deepest regrets for the unfortunate first contact with humanity. The children we mistakenly collected have been officially recognized as the catalysts for a new understanding between our peoples. The treaty contained unprecedented terms. Earth would receive advanced technology in medicine, energy, and environmental restoration. In exchange, humanity would share its art, music, literature, and most importantly, its perspective, something the ancient species of the collective had come to value. After the ceremony, Alan found Kevin and Lily sitting together in the garden outside. "Are you two doing okay?" he asked. Kevin nodded. "We're fine, Dad. The other kids, like us, are coming tomorrow to start special training." All 12 children were now part of a new program designed to develop their abilities. They would become humanity's first telepathic ambassadors to the stars. Lily looked up at the sky. "They're watching us right now. You know, not just Telzak's people, but others too. They're all curious about us." "Should we be worried?" Ellen asked. Kevin shook his head. "No, they're afraid of us actually. Not because of our weapons, but because of what you did." "What I did? You showed them something they'd forgotten," lightly explained. "How to care so much about others that you'd risk everything. Ambassador Telzak calls it sacred fury, the right to defend your children with all your strength." That evening, the first official collective education center opened in Geneva. Aliens from 12 different species had come to teach and learn. Eleanor was there excitedly discussing biology with a 6-armed scientist from a water world. In his quarters, Alan watched the news reports about the rapid changes happening on Earth. Some people were afraid, but most were excited about humanity's sudden leap into the galactic community. His secure phone beeped with a message. It was from Admiral Grant. "Captain, we've been invited to visit the collective central worlds. You and your family will lead the delegation." The children specifically requested Kevin and Lily join them. Ellen smiled. 6 months ago, he had been a father desperate to save his son. Now he was helping shape humanity's future among the stars. On the collective's capital world, a new education program was already underway. Young aliens from across the galaxy studied human history, particularly the Russell incident, as it had come to be known. "Remember the Russell Doctrine," a Zener teacher explained to her students. "Never underestimate the lengths to which humans will go to protect their own. It is not a weakness as we once thought, but perhaps the greatest strength in the galaxy." The teacher looked up as Ambassador Telzak entered the classroom. The senior diplomat had become the collective's foremost expert on human culture. "Today," Telzak announced, "we have special guests joining us via quantum link. Kevin Russell and Lee Martinez from Earth." The classroom erupted in excitement as the screen activated, showing the 2 human children who had changed galactic history. Kevin smiled at the alien students. We're here to answer your questions about humans, and to learn about you too. Because that's what the collective should have done from the beginning. Talk to each other, not study each other. And so began a new chapter in the story of humanity and the stars. Not as specimens to be studied, but as equals to be respected.